Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, so today's the notes will be about the research proposal, which is validity and reliability, kesahan dan kebolehpercayaan. Okay, since most of you written write your proposal in Malay, so all the notes will be in Malay, and feel free to ask in the comment platform or also in our WhatsApp group if you have any problem in regard of this topic. Okay, why I highlight this topic? Because most of you planning to do some kind of proposal related to development of kit or module or bahan bantu mengajar. That's why I'll just specifically focusing on this, because the way you write the instrument, especially the instrument for the validity and reliability untuk you punya kit or module, will have some kind of the procedure itself. Okay, anything that I will show you after this, it will be just a sample of the instrument that will be used untuk research related to the development of kit or module or BBM. Okay, so let's look at the slide here. So as you know, this is the content. Okay, the content of research proposal. We done with chapter 1 introduction, and then chapter 2 literature review, and also the methodology. And part of the methodology, you need to write down about the instrument of your research. Okay, so for this video, as I said just now, we're focusing on the validity and reliability. Okay. So I also show you the use of the SPSS. Macam mana nak kira the kesahan dan kebolehpercayaan using the SPSS. This is just the additional version of it. Obviously for your stage, basically not until this stage lah. Tak perlu sampai kesahan dan kebolehpercayaan. But I'll just show you. Hopefully this video will be beneficial to you later on. Okay. Alright, so kesahan dalam kajian kuantitatif. So kesahan dan kebolehpercayaan is most of the time is under the kajian kuantitatif. There are 6, terdapat 6 jenis. This is based on CHUA. So hopefully you're not just focusing on this reference, because out there there's so many reference related to the kesahan dan kebolehpercayaan. So terdapat 6 jenis kesahan by CHUA, Yan Piao 2014. He said there are 6 jenis kesahan dalam penyelidikan, and kalau you tengok di luar, find the literature, there are so many more. So don't stick only for this reference. So saya tunjukkan apa yang saya guna. No, not necessarily this is the right one. So you can choose any reference literature that you prefer and which is fit with your study lah, yang sesuai dengan you punya study. So I just show you here. So ada 6. First, kesahan muka, kesahan kriteria, kesahan bina, kesahan kandungan, kesahan dalaman dan juga kesahan luaran. So each one of it have their own purpose. So for the purpose of development of kit and module or bahan bantu mengajar, most of the time we are focusing on kesahan muka and kesahan kandungan. Kesahan muka is normally referring to how it look. How it look. If module, maksud dia adakah the module dari segi penggunaan warna, dari segi bahasa, dari segi format, is it easy to faham? That's what is meant by kesahan muka. Kalau kit, for example, how the reka bentuk of the kit, how the reka bentuk of the bahan mengajar. Okay, adakah dia mudah digunakan in term of dia punya appearance, the colour. Kalau ada alat-alat tu mungkin adakah dia tajam ataupun bagaimana. So that is reka bentuk luaran, how it's look. Kesahan kandungan is more towards the content itself. The content itself. For example, for module, apakah kandungan modul tentang dia punya topik-topik yang digunakan pakai, latihan yang digunakan, assessment yang digunakan, adakah dia sesuai. Bagi kit pula, ia yang merujuk kepada RPH yang digunakan pakai untuk pengajaran menggunakan BBM ataupun kit tersebut. Okay, so adakah dia mengambil kira kandungan pelajaran, adakah dia mengambil kira kebolehan pelajar and all those things lah. Okay, so itu adalah this is the 2 kesahan yang most of the time will be used dalam ujian ataupun dalam kajian-kajian related to the development of kit, module or BBM. Okay, so I hope you are aware of this. So every time you write your proposal or your thesis or your dissertation, and for you all it's more like research project. So in your writing, you can mention each one of these and you can cite the reference. this is the reference yang I show you. Choi and Piao is one of the reference. So I don't want you to focus on just this one reference. Okay, kalau you lihat di luar, there are many more. Okay, so you kena cite all these reference. Okay, so next, in terms of analysis kesahan, most of the time when you have the instrument, you akan minta kesahan pakar. Kesahan pakar, it can be 2, 3, 4 people. It depend on your kajian lah. Okay, minimum 2 people or 2 expert. 2 expert that have been identified untuk mengesahkan instrumen-instrumen yang you buat. For final year project students, most of the time you hanya guna pakai the existing instrument but you improvise to fit with your study. Okay, again I repeat, for your level, degree level for final year projects, so basically what you're doing is actually you find from the literature any kesahan form or survey form related to dia kesahan lah. Kita panggil borang kesahan ataupun sometimes dipanggil soal selidik kesahan. It depends lah what the terms that you use, but hopefully you understand what is it lah. Okay, so you kena identify how you find it. You just study daripada literature, kena baca lah buku, artikel-artikel. So you akan dapat several kesahan, then it will be different. But you can use that, you kena cite that paper and you improvise the kesahan to fit dengan you punya kajian lah. Kalau buat modul lah. Kalau buat kit lah. Okay, ataupun buat bahan bantu mengajar atau alat bahan bantu mengajar. Okay, so find from the literature and improvise. For your stage, we don't expect you untuk develop a new instrument, no. Sebab nak beli instrument, it take times. Untuk you, kita ambil kira tempoh pembelajaran you as a final year project, your level is not developing the instrument itself. Okay, so make sure you just find from the literature and improvise to fit with your study. Okay, so after you have the instrument, so that's after you improvise it, then you kena dapatkan kesahan pakar to get their opinion on or their perception on the instrument. Adakah instrumen yang benar itu benar-benar dapat mengukur whatever yang you nak ukur lah. Okay, so there are analysis that can be used untuk mengukur ataupun untuk you conclude or interpret whether the instrument is really mengukur apa yang nak diukur. So analisis yang saya akan explain this is basically untuk you buat conclusion adakah instrumen yang you buat tu sesuai baik dari sudut pandangan pakar. Because when you have 2 or more expert yang beri feedback terhadap you punya instrument, so you need to some kind of summarize adakah the instrument is good enough untuk mengukur yang you nak ukur. That's why there are several method out there yang boleh diguna pakai untuk you analyze ataupun untuk you analyze you punya expert punya pandangan terhadap you punya instrument. Okay, so here there are many method, but these 3 of the method that is common and I think the easiest one for you to use untuk you punya kajian. Okay, for your level, obviously as I said just now, you don't have to do until untuk dapatkan kesahan lah, but you need to write this in your proposal. Okay, you tak buat lagi kesahan, but you need to write it in a proposal. Okay, first kaedah yang very common is kaedah peratus kesepakatan, or we call it as percent of agreement. This is kaedah descriptive, is just based on percentage. So they have just find the average and then find the percentage. If the certain percentage met, so we said that the instrument is good enough untuk diguna pakai dalam kajian. And then kaedah kedua adalah kaedah Cohen's kappa. Okay, for this kaedah only mengukur kesepakatan antara 2 penilai saja. Only 2 expert. Kalau you menggunakan 2 expert, then you can use this Cohen's kappa. What if you use more than 2? Okay, if you use more than 2, you basically use the third one here, kaedah indeks kesahan kandungan or CVI, Contentability Index. If you have 2 penilai or expert, you can use either the number 2 and number 3 here. You can use either Cohen's kappa or CVI. If it's more than 2, you can only use this CVI. Okay, so kena aware lah kalau 2 boleh mana-mana antara these 3. But if you more than 3, basically number 1 is okay, but number 1 is just descriptive. It's good if you can try this CVI or Cohen's kappa. Okay, so this is the 3 method untuk analyze you punya kesahan based on feedback from expert. Okay, as you can see here yang blur number 4 ni, this is another method basically. number 4 here, kaedah fleece kappa. So that what I just blurring because I tak nak you confuse. Okay, so just these 3 is enough untuk you punya level, degree level. Okay, so I just shared with you this SPSS slide. So later on, maybe you can just look at it if you nak analyze in the future. Okay, so in analisis kesahan, so this is just a kaedah untuk kira peratus kesepakatan. Later on, maybe you can just look at it. So this slide will be uploaded dalam My Guru. So you boleh tengok nanti dalam My Guru later on untuk you cuba sendiri the analysis using SPSS, how you nak interpret and also how you nak write down the hypothesis if it's related to hypothesis. So this is the first part, kaedah peratus kesepakatan. So basically this kaedah peratus kesepakatan is just a peratus. It's just a peratus. So means you have penilai A and you have penilai B, and then kita dapatkan the difference between contohnya you put penilaian you ada 1, 2, 3, 4. So you just look at the difference. If they have same agreement, means they score the same. Kalau first penilai gives score 1, if they have the same agreement, means penilai B also akan give score 1. So the difference will be 0. Kalau dia sependapat, mean the difference between the score will be 0. That's why what we aim here for kaedah peratus kesepakatan, ni kalau guna SPSS lah, kalau tak you guna manual pun boleh. Kita dapati from out of 30 item here, 25 of the item they have the same agreement. 0 here represent difference, means dia ada kesepakatan lah. Contohnya macam saya sebut tadi, if penilai A beri skor 4, penilai B juga beri skor 4, that's why the difference is 0. Sekiranya penilai A memberi skor 3 dan penilai B memberi skor 4, so beza dia adalah negatif 1. That's why negatif 1 ni, kalau you nampak di sini, negatif 1 ni represent the difference. Ada 3 item yang mana penilai tidak bersetuju. Tapi the difference 0 here is represent ada 25 item yang they are agree. So this is the percentage that we're referring to. If you kira percentage 25 per 30 dan 100, you akan dapat 83.3. This one. This is your percentage. Okay. So 83.3%, we can say that the percentage is 83.3% between the agreement between penilai A dan penilai B. So that's why we can say that the instrument can be used lah untuk kajian sebenar. Okay, then next we have kaedah Cohen's kappa. Okay, as I said just now, ini untuk kajian sekiranya nak ukur 2 penilai sahaja, exactly 2. Okay, so you boleh baca lah Cohen kappa ni siapa kenalkan by Cohen 1960. And you boleh baca from the literature as well. You can just find the article that discuss on Cohen's kappa. Okay. So for aras persetujuan Cohen kappa, there are several research discuss about this. So basically here the first column here represents value of kappa. So kalau less than because kappa value is between 0 to 1. There is negative value as well, but means it's very poor lah. Okay. So value of kappa less than 0, 0 to 0.2, 0.21 to 0.4, and so on and so forth. So there are 2 reference here, Landis and Koch 1977 and Altman 1991. Okay, so by Landis and Koch, if it is less than 0, it will be poor, and so on and so forth. Here you boleh nampak But Altman 1991, so the explanation is quite different in terms of words, but it's represent the same thing. So whenever you write down your report, so this is the one that you need to refer lah. Contohnya you kata you dapat 0.8, so you can just say Altman and Landis, Altman 1991 and Landis and Koch 1977. Agree that if it's 0.6 and above, it says that the instrument is almost perfect or very good. So that's why the instrument can be used untuk real ataupun actual kajian lah, actual research. Okay, so next, this is the Cohen kappa assumption in SPSS. So I will not focusing on this, but you can look at it later on Because for your level, I don't think you need to do this yet. Okay, so maknanya you just kena tahu sajalah. Later when you are doing your FYP, you can just refer it again for this one. Okay, so this is analysis. You have certain data and then you analyze. So this is the example when you use coin kappa. After you analyze, you will have this value 0.6. For instance, after you calculate, and then you have the answer, the p value, and then you have to do kind of the conclusion to say whether the instrument is good enough or not. Okay, so for instance here nilai kappa 0.6. So you refer to Altman 1991. Okay, if 0.6 above, we can say that the instrument is good. Good enough lah, good enough untuk diguna pakai dalam kajian sebenar. Dan bila you gunakan, for instance, this one is just in term of value, value berdasarkan daripada jadual. So if you want to write down in term of hypothesis test, so the hypothesis now will be tidak terdapat kesepakatan, iaitu K which is kappa equal to 0. Kappa equal to 0 meaning they don't have any agreement. Okay, and if kappa not equal to 0, so means there is a significant agreement between penilai 1 dan penilai 2. So as you can see here, the p value is 0.008, which is less than alpha. So basically we can just say that terdapat kesepakatan between the first penilai and the second penilai. Okay, which means kappa is significantly different from 0. Okay, ni cara analysis. So obviously you just need to know, but you don't have to test it yet. The important thing here is your instrument. Okay. Again, the third method is Contentability Index. So as I said just now, the CVI is method for 2 or more expert. Kalau you menggunakan penilai 2 ataupun lebih. So this is the reference that I gave you. You can just refer to this, one of it. Of course, there is many out there. So I nak you cari jugalah all the contoh-contoh. Alright. So here the CVI. If you can see the first column here is referring to number of expert. Ada yang 2 expert. If you melibatkan 2 expert, this is how you need to conclude lah. Okay, if 3 to 5 expert, at least 6 expert, 6 to 8 and at least 9. Okay, so bergantung pada setiap kajian dan how many expert that you use in your study. So this is the value that is acceptable and this is the reference. So every time you write down again, if you're using 6 to 8 for instance, so you will say by Lin, according to Lin 1986, 0.83 above, we will say that the instrument is good enough for you to use in the actual survey or study lah. Okay, so this is for CVI. So later on you can just look at it again and maybe you can just read the reference that I gave you dalam my guru nanti untuk study more lah. This will help you in writing your chapter 3. Remember your assignment 3 is on chapter 3. Okay, so there are 3 types of kaedah pengukuran CVI. So kalau you nampak di sini kita ada ICVI, SCVI, AVE, SCVI, UA. So any of it will be okay lah. There is no specific right or wrong. It's just a matter of which is fit dengan you punya kajian. Ada 3 kaedah CVI di sini. So mana-mana pun tak ada masalah. Cara you nak interpret nanti based on which one yang you prefer lah. Salah satu saja, tak perlu ketiga-tiga. Okay, so this is basically the formula. So I just show you in the Excel form how to calculate it basically. So this one no need to use SPSS at all. You can just do it manually or using SPSS. Okay, for instance, you have 12 item here and you have 10 expert. Okay, there is 10 expert and your score is based on 0, 1. 1 mean agree, 0 mean disagree. Okay, 1 is favor, 0 means against. It's something like that. So your coding is 0, 1 lah. Alright. So this is how they calculate. The first row here means average. You campur here. This is 11 over 12. That's why 0.92 and so on and so forth. So you sum up, divide by 10. That's why you got this ICVI, which is 0.91. Similar to the part here for ICVI here. Same. Ni by row. Tadi by column. This one by row. So jawapan dia akan sama lah 0.91. So this one we call it as ICVI. This one we call it as SCVI. And the one here, universal average here is represent if there is no agreement at certain set means if there is 0 in certain by certain expert, we will score it 0. Even though ada 9 out of 10 yang give 1, ada satu saja yang give 0, we will assign 0, means no agreement. Tak semua ada agreement. Contohnya question 1 ni semua 1. So we said they are all the same, they are agree lah. So 1. If you can see Q2, everyone's 9 experts say yes or agree, but only 1 expert disagree. Even though the only ones, we still need to score it 0. Okay, so same method, you just average it, you get 0.83. So this is the value that you want, you need to interpret and decide whether the instrument is good enough. Obviously, from the value, we can see that the instrument is good enough to be used in the actual study. Okay, so later you boleh tengok balik. So again, this is just for your knowledge and for you to understand, so that it's easiest for you untuk write your report. Okay, next is about kabuli percayaan or reliability. Just now done about kesahan or validity. Validity more on towards from the expert lah. Okay. Okay, next is on kabuli percayaan. Kabuli percayaan, again, there are many definition, or there are many types of kabuli percayaan that can be found in the literature. But here I just show you from Choi and Piao 2014 again. So you tengok kita ada several type. Okay, but it's depend on your study again. So for your case, untuk development of kit or module or anything related to survey method, so it will involve instrument. So we will use this kaedah consistency dalaman, the third one, which is Cronbach alpha. People do Cronbach alpha, they know this is reliability for instrument. Okay, so reliability for instrument. So how good the instrument is to be used in the actual survey. So this is important to check the kabuli percayaan. If the kabuli percayaan is very low, so means there are many things that you need to improve upon your instrument so that it can be used in the actual study. So yang kita akan guna yang ketiga ni lah Cronbach alpha. Alright, so this is the value of Cronbach alpha, means if acceptable 0.7 above. If you got the value of Cronbach alpha more than 0.7, so we can say it's acceptable and the instrument can be used untuk actual survey. If it is less than 0.7, mean you need kind of to amend or at least do something to your item and do the reliability test again. Sampai you sampai tahap 0.7 above untuk your instrument, then you can proceed with your actual survey. So again, this is the kaedah untuk you kira. So I show you, later you boleh tengok sendiri nanti, because you don't have to write this or find the value for this course. You only need to know because you need the information for you to write. Okay. So when you run the Cronbach alpha analysis, obviously Cronbach alpha analysis you cannot do it manually because it's quite memang sangat complicated the analysis. The formula itself is quite complicated, so you need to kind of run it using Excel later on when you are doing your research project lah. For now, you just need to know. Okay. So here overall you see here the value of Cronbach alpha 0.9. So what does mean by 0.9? So lebih 0.9, obviously the instrument is good enough untuk diguna pakai dalam kajian sebenar. Alright. So and there is a output like this. If you can see here, Cronbach alpha if item deleted mean item 1A. If this item is deleted, your Cronbach alpha will be 0.9. Item, the last one here, number 1. If you delete this item, your score for Cronbach alpha is 0.8. So remember, the objective for this testing is basically kita tak nak buang item. The objective is not kita nak buang item. It's not we want to score the highest, no. As long as the minimum is 0.7, the instrument means good enough. Right? The objective is not we want to score 0.999 for the reliability, no. Okay, as long as you got for each item more than 0.7, then that means it's okay. Okay, so reliability hanya nak menunjukkan bahawa the instrument that item-item yang tulis dalam your instrument berjaya mengukur ataupun boleh mengukur whatever yang you nak ukur for your study. Okay, so that is about kesahan dan kepercayaan. So I just give you this summary. When it's involve the development of module, kit or bahan mata mengajar. So it will involve these two things, kesahan muka dan kesahan kandungan. Okay, this is untuk menentukan sama ada pakar penilaian mempunyai kesepakatan tentang rupa bentuk kit ataupun bahan mata mengajar, kandungan modul ataupun kebolehgunaan kit. Okay, so ada 3 kaedah ini yang saya dah sebut tadi. Kalau you guna kaedah peratus kesepakatan untuk 2 penilai atau lebih, kaedah Cohen's kappa untuk 2 penilai, exactly 2 sahaja, dan kaedah CBI untuk 2 penilai atau lebih. So, whatever method yang choose kena sesuai dengan you punya study. Ini adalah sebahagian kat luar. If you find in the literature, there are so many more. So, this is the one that is common yang dikena pakai dalam this type of study lah. And then when it comes to kebolehpercayaan instrumen, so it's nak menentukan sama ada item-item borang selidik, soal selidik eliminer dapat mengukur apa yang dah diukur. So, this is the analysis consistency dalaman, which is Crombie alpha. It is specifically focusing on the instrument. Okay, only if you are doing a module, kalau you buat module, maybe there is a kebolehpercayaan module. Sepatutnya, if you ask me, actually kebolehpercayaan Crombie alpha only for instrument. But there is a study by CDIC. To those yang buat modul, if you refer to CDIC, dia ada kebolehpercayaan untuk modul. Okay, so maybe I can just show with you the jadual rumusan kesahan dan kebolehpercayaan. So this is the jadual that I dah summarize. Nanti you boleh dapat daripada nota dalam My Guru. You can just read it through what is mean by all this kesahan dan kebolehpercayaan, so that when you are doing it later on in your FYP, so you understand which kesahan dan kepercayaan yang you kena buat lah. Okay, so this is the jadual. So it's quite small, tapi nanti later you buka dalam My Guru, you tengok sendiri. So I divided into 3, kesahan, kepercayaan dan kebolehgunaan. And then this is for pembangunan kit, and this is for pembangunan modul. Okay, just look at the summary. Okay, untuk kesahan muka, untuk instrumen you kena ada, untuk kit you kena ada, untuk pembangunan modul you kena ada, dan juga untuk modul itself you kena ada juga kesahan muka. However, it will depends on what type of literature yang you refer. Because some literature will say that you don't have to use this kesahan because of sekian. All those things akan relate bahasa you buat report nanti. Mungkin pada kit you tak buat kesahan muka. So, you need to kind of cite in your writing, kata kajian by sekian. Kajian by A 2018 for instance. Menggunakan kesahan kandungan kit sahaja bagi analisis. So you just cite the article. So it's not necessary, but it is good if you have it untuk setiap satunya. Kesahan muka untuk setiapnya. Okay, what is mean by instrument and kit? Okay, when you submit to expert, you will give 2 instrument. First is instrument pakar, which mean they will check your muka and kandungan of the other instrument. Okay, you give 2 instrument kepada pakar, yang mana instrumen pertama diguna pakai untuk menilai instrumen kedua. Okay, so it's maybe later on nanti you akan faham lah. So you ada 2 instrument. First instrument is used untuk menilai the second instrument. That's why we call it as a borang kepakaran. Borang kesahan untuk pakar, dia mengesahkan the second instrument. That's how it's work lah. Okay, kalau untuk kebolehgunaan, so there is another form untuk 2 instrumen juga. Satu instrumen diguna pakai untuk menilai the second instrument. Alright, so it's not that the pakar feels both. No, only one untuk represent the other one. Okay, nanti sekejap lagi saya akan tunjuk the contoh lah. Okay, untuk kesahan kandungan pun sama, all memerlukan kesahan kandungan untuk pembangunan kit dan juga pembangunan modul. And also here, this one is for the kebolehpercayaan. As you can see here, instrumen memerlukan kebolehpercayaan menggunakan Crombie alpha, but for kit we don't have those kebolehpercayaan kit. There is no such thing kebolehpercayaan kit. But however, if you are doing module, there is a literature by CDIC and Jamaluddin 2005 that said you can check the reliability of kebolehpercayaan bagi modul. Okay, so if you don't refer to CDIC, you don't have to do it. Okay, this is for kebolehpercayaan. So nanti boleh tengok. And another one, this one is for kebolehgunaan. Okay, this part is for kebolehgunaan. kebolehgunaan untuk kit, you mesti kena ada instrumen. Ini for instrumen untuk kit, kena ada kesan muka, kesan kandungan dan kepercayaan as usual. And for kit itself, you kena ada the soal selidik. This one is more on your sasaran lah. Kalau you menggunakan pelajar as your sasaran, then your kebolehpercayaan ataupun you punya you punya ni adalah more, you punya kit ni adalah more kepada kebolehgunaan kit tersebut lah. Kebolehgunaan kit tersebut. Untuk modul, tiada kebolehgunaan lah. It's a module. Module is just for kesahan muka dan kandungan saja. Dan juga kebolehpercayaan. But module don't have this kebolehgunaan. Kebolehgunaan only for kit or bahan bantu mengajar. Okay, so I know it's quite small here. But later on, you boleh dapatkan the attachment dalam My Guru untuk read further. So now let me share with you the example of borang kesahan dan kebolehpercayaan. This is based on the one that I received as expert lah. Many students give me this form untuk saya nilai. So I just share with you some of it. Obviously you need to find it later on dalam literature lah. Okay. So just show one by one here. Okay. So this form. Okay. This is for this form. So basically I tunjuk yang dulu sekejap. This one untuk bahan bantu mengajar. This one untuk, okay, this one I'll just show you this one first. This is borang kesahan pakar tentang kesahan muka instrumen dan kesahan kandungan instrumen. Okay, so here is the instrument that will be used by the pakar untuk melihat another instrument which is about the BBM lah. So I show you this is the instrument. Nampak dia ada dua ni. Okay, so this is the example of kesahan instrumen pakar. So saya tunjuk satu sekejap. Kesahan muka. This is example of kesahan muka. And we look here. And this one. Wait, this is for kebolehgunaan. And this one. Also for kebolehgunaan. Okay. So look at here. So this is the kandungan, kesahan kandungan muka for instrument. For instrument means this is the instrument that will be used. This is the instrument that will be used untuk menilai your bahan bantu mengajar. So what expert need to do is they need to fill another form untuk menilai this instrument. Okay. So this B will be the form that you need to be filled up by the expert untuk menilai this form. Okay, this form, the one that I show you here is the instrument untuk menilai the bahan bantu mengajar. Alright. So the expert first, the expert need to validate whether this instrument is good enough in terms of the muka and kandungan lah. So I'll show you the kesahan muka, kesahan kandungan by the expert untuk menilai this type of instrument lah. So this is, I show you this is instrument. This is instrument yang akan digunakan untuk menilai the bahan bantu mengajar lah. Alright. So this form, you had look this is kesahan muka. Kesahan muka means in terms of the instrument yang you buat untuk menilai bahan bantu mengajar tu, adakah the format okay, adakah arahan jelas, adakah form yang diguna pakai sesuai dari segi bahasa, dari segi istilah, dari segi ejaan. This is muka. Muka means how it's look. Ni tentang instrumen, dia menilai instrumen. And then you have another one, kesahan kandungan. Okay, kesahan kandungan is referring to the item itself because this is related to RPH untuk buat bahan bantu mengajar. So you akan lihat satu persatu kandungan dia lah. Okay, adakah item-item yang ditulis dalam instrumen tersebut mengambil kira ketepatan kandungan KSSM. Okay, adakah dia mengambil kira kaitan kandungan BBM dengan standard pembelajaran. Okay, ni contoh contoh bagi kesahan kandungan yang perlu diisi oleh pakar untuk menilai your instrumen dalam yang telah disediakan lah. Okay, atau disediakan mengkira tahap kebolehan murid. So this is example of the kesahan yang akan diisi oleh pakar. And you will dia punya skala, you akan dapat have the score. So inilah score yang you akan masukkan dalam SPSS if you guna SPSS. Ataupun this is the score that you need to calculate lah. yang you akan kena kira untuk you analyze di nilai kesahan. Right? Okay, so ini adalah soal selidik bagi RPH. Okay, ini merujuk kepada kandungan sebab dia buat bahan bantu mengajar, so kena ada RPH. So kesahan kandungan merujuk kepada RPH. Ini adalah instrumen yang dinilai tadi. Okay, so there's another stage. Apabila you dah ada ni, then baru you test ni pula. Okay, after this pass, maksudnya kesahan daripada pakai you dah score, then this instrument pula you kena test dia punya kesahan. Nampak tak dia ada several stages. So basically kat sini ada 2 stages lah. After the kesahan pakat untuk instrument, you have kesahan pakat untuk bahan bantu mengajar itself. Then kalau siapa-siapa yang boleh yang buat kebolehgunaan later on, then you have another instrument berkaitan dengan kebolehgunaan. Okay, kebolehgunaan ni normally is related to bahan bantu mengajar, ataupun you could buat apps, ataupun you buat kit lah, buat kit So nampak kalau perasan sini kebolehgunaan in term of kebergunaan, dia adalah you punya reference, so you kena cari dalam literature contoh-contoh ini. Sifat mesra pengguna, adakah mudah digunakan, ada kepuasan, adakah dia seronok menggunakan those kit. Okay, so this is all the example lah. Okay, so maybe later you kena cari dalam literature berkaitan dengan this thing lah. Alright. So this is the task that I will give you. Okay. Cara nak cari literature, as I said before this, there are many platform. You boleh guna Google, you boleh guna platform Scopus or database. I think all of the student can access even though it's from outside, isn't it? Untuk dapatkan library, library punya reference database. So kita ada Scopus, kita ada many other platform untuk you cari the article. Of course the initiate first is through Google, but some Google you need to make sure the reference is good enough lah. Okay, you refer pada artikel-artikel ataupun e-book dan sebagainya. Okay, so the task here untuk for your attendance for today's class or lecture, what I want you to do is basically dapatkan 2 contoh borang kesahan pakar bagi instrumen, kit, modul, bahan bantu mengajar, whatever it is, dari pelbagai sumber rujukan. Dan you kena senaraikanlah sumber rujukan tersebut. You dapatkan 2 contoh borang kesahan pakar from literature. Okay, daripada literature. What I want you to do is basically give me the link at the comment platform below bagi contoh-contoh borang kesahan ni lah. If you have more than 2, then fine, it will be good. Okay, so basically saya nak you cari literature, dapatkan the borang and you save the borang dalam satu link, dan you sertakan di dalam ruang komen. Dalam ruang komen senaraikan juga sumber rujukan juga. Okay, you senaraikan the rujukan from A 2020, from B 2018, and then you give the link of the instrument. So that's the task for today. So overall, today is just about kebolehpercayaan dan kesahan dan kebolehpercayaan, validity and reliability. So because this, most of you use development, your study is on, your proposal is more on development of kit or module or bahan bantu mengajar. That's why this is important in your writing. In chapter 3, you need to write down about the instrument and all this kesahan dan kebolehpercayaan. So also I want you to attach the borang kesahan pakar in your report later on for assignment 4. Then you sertakan sekali lah di contoh ni, contoh borang kesahan pakar ni. Okay, so please do the task because it counts as your attendance. In the comment platform, write down the reference, just several reference, 3-4 reference, and then the link for the 2 contoh borang kesahan pakar. It can be many things. Contoh borang kesahan pakar ni, it's not necessarily related to your study lah. It is a contoh kesahan pakar daripada literature. Okay, anything as long as it's related to borang kesahan pakar, seperti yang saya tunjuk tadi lah. Bila dia kesahan kandungan, bila dia kesahan muka, tentang reka bentuk dia, ataupun tentang bahasa dan sebagainya, luaran, how it's look. Dan kesahan kandungan adalah tentang kandungan. Kandungan, kalau dia modul, tentang kandungan modul. Kalau dia kit ataupun bahan bantu mengajar, tentang RPH yang diguna pakai untuk dia mengajar menggunakan BBM ataupun kit tersebut. Okay, so I think that's all for today. So don't forget untuk buat task ni. Feel free to ask pada ruangan komen, or feel free untuk fast respond dalam grup WhatsApp kita lah. So fast respond kat situ, so tanya saja di situ. Alright, so thank you and all the best. Assalamualaikum.